If you have been following my channel now for a little while, you know that I've taken a deep dive back into FPV, especially after the O4 Pro Air unit was released. Now, the O4 Pro is a great replica of what you can find in the DJI Action 5 Pro and even the Avata 2, which I've been flying all the time. But I've even now started getting back into the home-built drones. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the BetaFPV Pavo20 Pro and why this drone has really sold me. And this has been collecting a lot of dust as of lately. So let's get right into that video. What's going on, guys? This is Eddie, aka Mr. Eddie Nunez. Thank you again for hitting that play button, watching another one of my videos. Hopefully you are subscribed and you got notified of this new release. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about the BetaFPV Pavo20 Pro. We're going to break up this video into 3 segments. One is an unboxing and what BetaFPV did send me. So yes, full disclosure, BetaFPV did provide me this drone free of charge with the O4 Pro Air unit, but they don't have any influence over my review or any talking points that I have to say. This is a raw video, no notes. I do have just the product specs here on my iPad, which I'll look at when reviewing some of the stuff. But other than that, this is just my raw first impression. Now, fun fact, I've already flown this multiple times, and that's why I made that bold introductory comment that this thing is collecting a lot of dust, because it really is. Like, this guy right here, I mean, how can you compare both of these two? This thing here is tiny and so agile that is incredible. But we're gonna get to, you know, a deeper dive in a second. As I stated, this video is gonna be broken up into 3 parts. One is doing an unboxing of everything that BetaFPV sent me over, but also what's included. We'll get into some of the specs, and then we'll get into flight characteristics. So let's jump right into the unboxing. So the BetaFPV Pavo20 Pro comes in a few configurations. You can buy just the frame with the motor, and then, you know, the housing for the O4 Pro, and you can just install your O4 Pro unit yourself, and others we'll get to in a second. Or you can buy one already with the O4 Pro Air unit fully installed. I opted with the one with the O4 Pro Air unit fully installed because for starters, you know, these O4 Pros are really difficult to find here in the United States. So if BetaFPV has it handy and can install it and ship it to me at the same cost, then why not? So when you open up the box, depending on which bundle you get, I'm going to be speaking about the one with the O4 Pro Air unit specifically. You get the drone. It comes nicely packaged in this box here. And you don't really have to do anything besides just really putting in the antennas here in the slots. That's pretty much it. There's nothing else that you have to do. My version also arrived with LEDs on the side, which you do have to install. So I did go ahead and install it and just simply plug it in. Everything is already done for you, like all the soldering. Everything is literally plug and play. And we'll deep dive into that as well in a second. You get additional props as well. That's always handy. You're going to need it. You get a cord, a specific cord. Now, this cord here is so you can connect to the flight controller, because, you know, the flight controller is tiny. We'll get to the flight controller specs as well in the later part of the video, but you're going to need a cord in order to connect to, you know, beta flight. You do get an LED, and I got extra just because it was a care package that BetaFPV sent over, and you can buy extra, so you do get that. And you get some additional hardware as well, like screws, cables, etc. But that's really all that comes standard. Now, you're going to need additional stuff, and this is where BetaFPV did hook me up. This is using the Lava 550 milliamp hour batteries. It's not a LiPo battery, it's LIHV battery 75C. Very new to these batteries, so these are the batteries that it does come included with. Yeah, you know, two of them, they're 3S batteries. I did have to buy, because these are XT30s and I've only been flying, you know, 6X batteries, which is typically XT60. I did have to buy these adapters here that adapt from an XT30 over to an XT60, and you just simply, you know, plug it in so, and then becomes an XT60, and that goes right into my Hoya charger. BetaFPV also did send me out some filters. It's an UV filter, an ND8, a 16, and a 32, which we will be using today because it is quite of a sunny day. And let's see here. They also did send me over some Gemfan 2218 three-bladed props, some extra props. So there's a little different. Actually, these are Gemfan as well, but these look a little bit transparent. So I'm not sure if they're exactly the same. And it's windy, as you've noticed. Like, my stuff is blowing, so it's going to be quite interesting to fly this drone today. So that's all that's included. When you buy your bundle, you get just a drone for $364.99, and that is the drone with the O4 Pro air unit. So this that you're seeing right here. And then they do have a Nightfire edition, which comes with really cool LEDs, and that's you know, sold separately as well. But you can get all these accessories added on, but you can also just get a bundle where you can buy the O4 Pro quadcopter with, you know, the O4 Pro air unit built in already, an extra frame, because it might be a good idea to have an extra frame just in case you crash. You can get the 2 batteries and those Gemfan props that I showed you, all for $401. But you can just buy this standalone, and this is going to cost you $360. All right, so at a very high level, right, some high level bullets that when BetaFPV reached out to me and said, hey Eddie, do you want to review this drone or not, I took a look at these bullets, and it really sold me and really, you know, intrigued me. And I started going down that deep rabbit hole of watching YouTube videos, and everybody loved their drone. And for the most part, the first reason why is because of its weight. This is so lightweight, which makes it extremely nimble when flying. It only weighs 150 grams, and it's only a 2.2-inch pocket drone. That is incredible. 2.2 inches and only 150 grams. You can see here the difference between the Avata and, you know, this Pavo20 Pro. It is, this guy is tiny. So that's one of the things that really sold me. And this is carrying the O4 Pro air unit, not the light version, the full version, which is incredible. It is optimized for freestyle. So with the Gemfan 2218 3-blade props and these Lavas 1104 batteries and the 7200 kV brushless motors, you get just unbelievable thrust. Like, you really feel in control. And in today's environment, it's going to be actually really great to test, because the previous flights I've done has been with limited to no wind, and today we got 15 miles per hour winds here. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how this performs. And in terms of battery performance, those Lava 3S batteries, they are 550 milliamp hours, as I shared, but they are going to get you around 6 minutes of flight time. Now, in previous testings already with this drone, I found to get about maybe 5 minutes, but it all depends on what you're doing, right? If you're going to be doing those hardcore freestyle maneuvers, obviously you're going to be punching, you're going to be hitting the throttle, you're going to draw excessive, you know, ampage from this, which is going to decrease your overall flight time. But if you're just using this to cruise, I can see it getting 6 minutes. Now, I've never gotten 6 minutes, but also I never really took it easy on the throttle. Today, I'm not going to get 6 minutes because this wind is just blowing steady. We're going to be flying through these trees here, so we'll see overall what is the flight time that we get. But on average, I have been getting about 5 minutes. Now, the frame, it is injection molded And the way they mount the air unit and everything else, right, and the camera, it has rubber dampers that ensures jitter-free footage. And the dual cam fixed hole here, this is something that I found really cool, and I think BetaFPV might be the first to do this. This can hold an O3 or an O4. So you can go ahead and switch. So if you want to take the O4 out and you want to install the O3, it's actually extremely easy to do. This is literally like the best plug and play bind and fly drone I've ever seen. Everything is plug and play, including the motors. And then finally, one thing that's really cool that some manufacturers actually forget is that the housing here for the camera is made so that you can install filters. I can't tell you how many O4 Pro bind and flies I've seen out there that because they're trying to protect the camera, you can't install a filter. Like, come on, like if this camera is exactly the same, if not better, of the Avata 2, you got to give me the ability to install filters, because I'm not putting a GoPro or any other action camera on top of this. The purpose of this is to fly it just as is. So that's also something to really consider there, is the fact that you can install the filters, which may sound like a silly benefit, but it's actually a huge win if compared to a drone that you may not be able to. Now, the last spec that I'll talk about is the flight controller. So this is coming with the F4 2 to 3S 20 amp all-in-one flight controller. It has an ESC with a peak current of 25 amps to ensure stable operations of the flight controller, even in the event of a motor stalling. It also has a 9-volt, 2-amp BEC power supply to ensure stable operations of the O3, DJI O3 air unit when the battery voltage is low. So again, this is modular in the sense that you can use O4 and O3. You can swap back and forth without harming any of your components, which I think is fantastic. It does have a 16 megabyte black box, so you can go ahead and plug into BetaFPV and kind of see your black box flight logs and continue tuning. But I don't think tuning is necessary, because right out the box, this flies absolutely tremendous. Now, in terms of accessories, I do want to talk about specs on the accessories. The LED indicator is actually pretty cool. When my first flight here at this particular park, I was flying with my boy, CR, Brooklyn Drone Boys. Follow him on Instagram and YouTube. He was chasing me with the Avata, and he was able to keep me right within his line of sight just because of the LED lights. And we were flying in the outdoor environment, obviously, in the well-lit area. So he was able to see this with no questions asked and really stay locked into me, flying me. I wish CR will share that footage with me so that I can include it, but he never sends me any files. This LED light bar is controllable right with your remote, and I did choose the standard version, which binds to my standard DJI remote, so I'm not using any sort of fancy remote. I don't have Express LRS. I'm only using Crossfire, my other quad, so I opted with a simple version, which is just DJI goggles and DJI remote. No need to carry any extra remotes or bulky accessories. And the lights, you can go ahead and change them. And obviously there's different versions you can buy, but this comes in red, white, blue, or green LEDs, or neon, I would say. And it's actually really easy to install as well. Just adhesive all the way around and a simple plug and play here at the bottom, which is really, really handy. Now, when BetaFPV sends you this drone out, they already have everything pre-programmed for you. So your remote, your switches, everything is already pre-programmed. You can go ahead and check out the user manual on their website to see, or you can just simply plug into Betaflight and see what is your configuration. I left everything stock as is with this drone, meaning the control, the tuning. I have not changed anything. So let's go ahead and do a first raw, not a first, but maybe like a fifth raw flight here. I'll share my raw reactions with you, and we'll then jump into, my final conclusions. What do I think about this drone overall? We're ready to rock and roll here, shooting with the Insta360 X5. Got the super mic on, 32-bit flow audio, an amazing drone. And we're gonna be flying right out here. Right now I got a full battery. Gonna take off right from this table, and we're gonna head right out. One thing you can do is take off in horizon if you want, and then switch. Oh, You see the, oh, you see the power of this? That's why I forget how powerful this thing is. Now, if that wasn't a definition of thrust, I don't know what was, because that is thrust, ladies and gentlemen. Like, that is thrust. On something like this, like, try doing what I just did on the Avata. Just try it. So, it's a windy day, as I mentioned. It says like 15 miles per hour. I feel like it's calmed down a bit, but we should see as we're flying here if we get pushed or tossed around. Going behind these trees, got this field here. These guys are playing. Absolutely no loss to signal quality, and so far so good. I am getting tossed a little bit here, but nothing that you can't like not control. And I saw some people there, so I don't want to go all the way there. One thing when flying these like Pavo style Cinewhoop drones like this one, because it's so tiny and also powerful, throttle control is like really important. As you can see, I'm probably struggling here because this is my first pack. I got to get warmed up, obviously. And throttle control is of the most importance. So I'm just testing out the sticks here, warming myself up, like I said. And I don't know if I'm going to keep this whole loop of just me endlessly talking, but wow, this guy is so smooth. Now, on the second pack, I'll do a little bit of acro maneuvers. We'll try in this wide open area, but I'm not losing any signal penetration here. See if we can go through some of these trees to slow down a bit. Go through some of these trees without crashing. Oh, there's my cyber beast. There am I flying. And that's why my settings were extremely important, where you want to have auto ISO. Just maybe lock only your shutter, because, you know, you go to this wide open area, you need the drone, the O4, to adjust. And then, you know, when you go into the shaded area, you need that adjustment again from an exposure perspective. And what I like about the O4 Pro, just like the Action 5 Pro, is that it does switch pretty quickly in terms of exposure. So there's not that whole like big delay in terms of dynamic range. Wow, this thing is just so nimble. Like, it is so nimble. Look how fast I'm able to go. Like, it is crazy nimble here. I like it. I love this little guy. What I just hope that doesn't happen is that I don't lose it, in terms of I get, you know, too ballsy with it and I fly it like at a shoreline or something where I'm not, somewhere I'm not supposed to. Like, environment is going to be critical when flying these type of drones. This is not something that you just fly anywhere. Like, you gotta think of it as a mini 5-inch, but you know, this is a Cinewhoop, so you gotta be super cautious. Like right now, I'm getting super tossed around with this wind breeze. Woo! Getting low battery warnings. Let's just land it here, right on this ground, right over here. Just disarm. There you go. That was a full experience, raw experience of this guy. Like, is this amazing or what? what did you think about those flights that you saw overall using this drone? Now, you saw a mixture of flights there, again, on non-windy days with no ND filters. And then on today's event day here, shooting this video with ND filters. But what I love about this drone, I'm gonna get to my conclusions here. What I love about this drone is that this is all that I need to fly this drone, plus some batteries, of course. But literally, this is all that I need. I'm using my Goggles 3. I'm using the remote that comes with the Avata, right? I think these are called, this is called the Controller 2 or something like that. And then my tiny little Pavo20 Pro. My overall experience using this has been fantastic. Everywhere I go, when I know I'm gonna fly FPV, I bring this with me just because of, you know, it's so different than a 5-inch quad. It's so different even than the Avata. The Avata, I feel like, you know, it's a Cinewhoop. It's made for gaps. You can fly through tight things, but sometimes you just don't have that control. It may shift and turn around. Whereas this, the thrust, the power, the ability, the agility, the size, its small form, you know, compact factor, I'm able to like fly this through any gap without any hesitation and without getting any sort of, you know, nervousness within me while flying. We all been there where you are, you know, you're lined up to a shot, you're gonna go through a gap, and then you decide at the very last minute you're not gonna do it because it's kind of drifting or you're not sure if you're gonna hit it. And that's very common with the Avata. Now, not to downplay the Avata 2 is still an incredible drone, but you gotta get yourself one of these. Look how small it is. Look how I'm holding it. This is just like, you can fly this in any environment. I mean, like literally any environment. You can fly it indoors, set up a course. You can do it in your backyard. You can fly it in a open wide area like this. It's just the, you know, the possibilities are endless. Now, there are a few things that I wish it did have, maybe like a GPS module. I like to fly these with GPS just so that I kind of have that telemetry. Now, I know that, you know, this is tiny, so I'm not going to be able to really put a GPS. But besides that, I think that's maybe like the only hesitation that I had, or the only sort of feedback I would say, not hesitation, is that it doesn't come with a GPS module. But that's also silly feedback on my behalf because this doesn't need a GPS module at the end of the day. You should be flying line of sight within your vicinity always, especially with something this small. You're not going to do any sort of long range flights. For the price point, $364, $365, let's just call it. It's an absolute steal with the O4 Pro Air unit. So go ahead, check out their website, use my affiliate links. It definitely helps me out and the channel grow. If I have any discount codes or promotional codes from BetaFPV, I'll also link those in the description below. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm having a blast with this. I know that regardless whether or not BetaFPV sent me this or not, this is a drone that I'll always have and I'll continue to buy future iterations of because it's just that damn good. That's going to be it. Sorry for the long videos. And if you made it to this end, let me know. I'll give you a special shout out in my next video. Until next time, peace.